Some breaking news that's coming into us from the United States, specifically from the state of Michigan there. And law enforcement say they are responding to reports of an active shooter at a synagogue in Michigan. Now, Michigan State Police has posted on X to say that they are aware of an active shooting incident that is going on in West Bloomfield. Now, police have not identified the scene of the reported shooting, but local media is reporting that it's happening at the Temple Israel Synagogue in West Bloomfield. These pictures just coming into us from the United States. You can see there lots of police cars, lots of activity. We've also heard from the director of the FBI, Kash Patel, who says FBI personnel are on the scene with partners in Michigan and that they are responding to what he has described as an apparent vehicle ramming, an active shooter situation out of Temple Israel Synagogue in West Bloomfield.
We have just learned that the FBI Detroit held an active shooter training drill situation, I should say. Yeah, okay, a training drill, just 6 months ago at this temple. 6 weeks ago. Okay, 6 weeks ago, they held an active shooter training session or drill 6 weeks ago at this temple.
In Bloomfield Hills, a first of its kind, big training exercise happened at Bloomfield Hills High School this morning. Hundreds of teachers and staff, along with police, fire, and emergency personnel, were part of this training. CBS News Detroit's Jordan Burroughs has the story from Andover Road.
Bloomfield Hills High School hosted this training so that the city of Bloomfield Hills law enforcement, first responders, and school personnel can be as prepared as possible in the unlikely scenario of tragedy. It took several months of planning, but on Wednesday, that planning turned into action. How can school districts best protect themselves in case of a tragedy? Law enforcement agencies, fire departments, EMTs, and school personnel work together to learn the comprehensive, critical incident training, how a split-second decision can be life or death.
Training is so that people can actually put it in their heads what they would actually do if this event were to happen, so that they can think it through and have that in the back of their minds, so that if it were to happen, that they have a plan to go to. And so that's really what is involved in the training.
The plan involved more than 500 teachers and staff members from Bloomfield Hills High School, area nurses playing the part of victims, and law enforcement officers responding to the situation. The training included defense mechanisms, de-escalation tactics, and medical training. Carrie Lazat, Director of Cable and Community Relations, says this training should set the precedent going forward. These are vital for schools, communities, and cities around the country.
The Bloomfield Township Police and Fire Departments are exceptionally well trained. They train like this and for these kind of events all the time in everything that they do. And I think that the community can have confidence if anything happens that the threat will be eliminated pretty quickly.
The training was mandatory for teachers and school personnel, but school officials said that teachers didn't have to directly participate in the training. They just want them to be aware of what to do in case of an emergency. Reporting in Bloomfield Township, Jordan Burroughs, CBS News, Detroit.
The Jersey City Department of Public Safety's Office of Emergency Management and Homeland Security conducted a multidisciplinary active shooter exercise at the New Jersey City University School of Business located at the McCallie Harborside Complex earlier today. The press were allowed to film inside as the drama unfolded, which seemed at some points like a real-life drama, as gunshots were fired and different police forces from Homeland Security and Jersey City Police Department rushed to the scene to try to apprehend the shooter alive or to shoot him outright. We interviewed Jersey City Public Safety Director James Shea before the onset of the active shooter exercise.
We've been doing this with our outside company here since 2015, and we've been steadily improving the capabilities of our units, and we've actually brought more units and more partners into it as we go and as we get better at it. Again, getting better is a relative term. We're never going to be satisfied with our response. We're going to continue trying to improve.
And Director Shea, it seems like this is just part of the standard steps that the city's taking given the reality of shootings across the country. But have there been, for example, any credible threats that you're taking seriously at this point? And is this why this is happening today?
Well, we're a huge part of the New York metropolitan area. We're a major city with a major financial district in our own right, and we have major universities, schools, what have proven to be attractive targets in other cities. We're very happy that we haven't had an event like that here, but we think we'd be neglecting the city if we didn't prepare for the possibility. So we're going to continue making sure that we have the capabilities to address any threat to our taxpayers that arises.
And my last question, Director Shea, at the conclusion of today's events, which happen, I guess, in a couple hours now, what will you be looking for as you assess today's activities? I mean, what will be most important for you in the features that you'll be reassessing?
That we recognize our mistakes and that we see where we can do better, and that then we will use our vendor to talk to us about steps we need to improve in training before we do this again in 3 or 4 months, and we see if we've incorporated the lessons learned from today and gotten better. And again, it's all about making sure that when we respond, we're doing the best we can, both for our officers and our first responders and for our citizens that are depending on us.
At the conclusion of today's active shooter exercise, we interviewed the vendor, Tomahawk Strategic Solutions President Michael Biller, to find out how well the city is prepared.
Their response time was phenomenal. I'm very impressed with all the multiple responding authorities that participated and how they conducted themselves and how they progressed. We've had the pleasure and honor to work in this city for the past 3 years, and where they started was great. Where they've come is phenomenal. I'm very confident in their abilities and what they're doing, and they're actually doing some very advanced concepts, running rescue task force, and they've really refined that today. And for all those that don't know what rescue task force, it's integrating medics, just as though we used to do in our previous careers, to ensure that while we have a response to interdict a shooter or something of those means, we also have a medic or somebody who's trained to start treating victims.
Mark Busich reporting in Jersey City for Hudson County View, the eye of the community.
Try to hit us back. Have you been briefed about how many Iran sleeper cells there could be inside the U.S. right now?
I have been, and a lot of people came in through Biden with this stupid open border. But we know where most of them are. We've got our eye on all of them, I think.
Is it dozens?
They came in through the open border policies of Sleepy Joe Biden, one of the worst president in the history of our country. And we've got our eyes on all of them. But the war itself is being prosecuted at a level that nobody's seen before. It's pretty amazing to watch.
And what does it mean to win? Well, the most obvious and often repeated observation about this conflict is totally true. Iran's threshold for victory is very low. It just needs to survive. The regime has to remain intact. Now, in order to change the regime, everyone pretty much agrees you would need ground forces. You'd need troops, boots on the ground, American boots on the ground, in order to do that. And there is zero appetite for that in this administration, much less in the country. Israel would like us to commit ground troops, obviously, but it would take a lot to get us to do that. It would take some sort of terror attack in the United States, probably like 9/11. That it would take some sort of terror attack in the United States, probably like 9/11. That it would take some sort of terror attack in the United States, probably like 9/11, probably like 9/11, probably like 9/11, probably like 9/11.